In this episode,
A bath was involved, wasn't it?
I mean, the freaking story this man came out with to justify why he did what he did.
And off the walk in the direction of the library over there.
And that is how they accidentally died in his house.
Stupid story.
I mean...
It's not even well thought out.
I mean, the bar... You've had weeks to figure this out, and you come up with that? All right, Paul, today we are doing the Soham murders. Do you know about this case at all?
I do.
You do?
Ian Huntley, right?
Ian Huntley, Maxine Carr,
the two
Holly
girls.
Wells and Jessica Chapman. Yes. Who were both 10 years old at the time.
Yeah.
Do you remember
in his bath, right? I do remember.
No, they weren't.
No, was it?
No. Yes, it was. It was 2002.
Jesus, was that long ago?
Super old. They were not found in his bath, no. They were missing for a couple of weeks and their bodies were found in an airfield.
No.
By dog walkers.
Did he say they died in his bath or something?
Eventually,
A bath was involved, wasn't it?
I mean, the freaking story this man came out with to justify why he did what he did. Well, actually, if you go to that place, you can hear all about it, because I will tell you in our little intro video about the case. He came up with the most ridiculous story about how he accidentally killed them both.
I do remember it, because he inserted himself into the investigation and all sorts of stuff.
Yes. So we haven't got the longest video this time, but we do have a few clips of him. But the last clip is supposed recordings of him from prison. So we'll see how that goes and if it's applicable. But it was very interesting. I remember very clearly watching the whole thing and, you know, as the news unfolded, and an interview with Maxine Carr at the time, and she used the past tense. And I remember saying to somebody who was with me, why did she just refer to them in the past tense? And they hadn't been found at this point.
Wow.
It was... So, would you like to know anything else? Or would you like to...
No, I don't think
just
so.
jump
I think
straight
we'll just begin, shan't we?
Okay, yeah, let's do it.
How do we know they were here at 6:15? Well, we have an eyewitness. Ian Huntley here is a familiar figure. Evening, Ian. You're the school caretaker. The girls, Jessica and Holly, would know you, and they saw you on the front doorstep. What went on?
You see, for some reason, I remember this interview.
Oh, well, it was played over and over again once he was caught. Like, it would have been... It was a big deal.
Yeah.
But also, this saturated the news. Don't forget, this was before iPhones, Facebook, and all of that stuff. And so this was hot news at the time. It was constantly on the... I was working in a pub at the time. It was constantly on the news loop, you know. So, yeah, this was being played all the time, before and after he was caught. Go on.
We have to be very conscious that I am viewing this from a place of extreme bias.
Yes, because you know the outcome.
Extreme bias,
right.
Yes.
Right.
So, again, that means that there are strong possibilities that I will see stuff that aren't actually there.
Right. Okay.
Or will dismiss stuff that is there because of overcompensating for bias.
For the bias, right. And this is why we don't normally do cases that you know, so that this is not an issue. But,
So just so we're aware, I know this case, I've seen this interview, and there is extreme bias in this analysis.
And this is what's called good scientific methodology, where you declare your bias at the beginning of the research, so that when your bias shows up through the research, everyone goes, "You're biased." And, yeah, no, I know I'm biased because I said it at the beginning.
I told you I'm biased.
I told you.
Absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
So
there you
funny.
go.
There we are.
The girl, I don't know the girls. I stood on the front doorstep grooming my dog down. She'd run away and come back a bit of a mess. They just came across and asked how Miss Carr was, as she used to teach them at St Andrews. I just said she weren't very good, as she hadn't got the job. And they just says, please tell her that we're very sorry. And off they walked in the direction of the library over there.
I mean, this is obviously a rehearsed. It's a low, detailed narrative, and it's structured around completely mundane activity. It's very strange. It was grooming my dog, and here's
That
the thing:
language on its own is a bit odd, isn't it?
right, because
Right.
offenders often use very ordinary, very domestic detail to normalize their presence at the crime scene. And also you have his, oh, I didn't really know the girls, yet he immediately describes the familiarity that contradicts that denial completely, They just came, I didn't really know them, but yet I knew them well enough for them to come across and ask how Miss Carr was.
Right.
I mean, so that contradiction, of course, matters, because he's rejecting that he knows them, but he's narrating a very intimate interpersonal interaction, which
Especially
would be
given the
dependent
age.
on familiarity, given their
Right.
age, exactly.
Yeah. Right.
And then, of course, you can tell that he's inserting a kind of subtle distancing, and or if they walk in that direction, So
Like a dismissal, like that. When we see, well, even the distancing language of,
Yeah.
I didn't know them very well, and then in that, like he's dismissing it almost.
right.
Yeah.
So, well, kind of, but it is a distancing. It's like, well, over there. I mean, what he's trying to do, which you'll see an awful lot with some criminals who will try and insert themselves into
Yes.
an investigation. He's almost placing himself in the complete center of the investigation as the last person who saw them. Right? So the
Right.
last witness who saw them, which is, it can be a double-edged sword, because if you're the last person who saw them and you're the last witness, believe it or not, there is a bias which will exonerate you because you have come forward as the last person, because you have been the last witness. So people will go, well, if he's the last person to see them, he's not exactly going to move himself forward, is he?
No, because we all
Because
know
that's an unnecessary risk, isn't it?
right.
But of course, what he's really trying to do is control the narrative.
He's double bluffing by
He
saying,
is double bluffing,
yeah, saying I was the
So-
last person to see them, knowing full well that everyone suspects the last person to see them, because that's usually the way that
Right.
police investigations go. But you do see this thing of criminals inserting themselves in investigations to the point that the police will exploit that, won't they? They'll deliberately hold, I don't know, things like memorials or vigils or something to see who turns up and take a note. They did it with Irons, who was the East Area rapist. I forget what the ONS stands for. Night Stalker, something Night Stalker. And he was only caught a few years ago having terrorised people in the 60s, I think. And what they did was hold a community meeting and took photos, hoping that he would be in the photos. And somebody at that meeting stood up and said, blah, 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 can't believe this. If they broke into my house and did that to my wife, I'd fight back. And that night, he had a visitor and he did not fight back. But yeah, they do it deliberately to try and catch them, to see who's coming. So yes, an interesting double bluff from him.
It is, but you can also see that there's very little, almost no, actually, emotional congruence here. His affect is flat. There's no intuitive shock reaction, which would be expected in a community such scenario. Because remember, this is something that would have absolutely, again, before the widespread use of social media and phones and stuff like this would have been absolutely shocking to a local community this small. The level of shock would have been, we would expect to hear it in this voice, but it's very flat, and his gestures are very vague. He's over there, rather than naming specifics. So when you because normally if I'm telling the truth, first of all, I'd be talking very fast because of the adrenaline, the excited.
Yes.
When I say excitement, I do not mean yay excitement. I mean the excitement of,
Arousal.
The arousal, yes, of something so terrible and so shocking that happens is coursing adrenaline and cortisol through my veins. So I'm not going to go, and then they walked over there, I would say, and then they walked down Smith Street, or they walked down
Yes, you would be as specific as
Avenue
possible
or whatever,
to help.
So his rhythm and his emotional congruence and his vague non-verbals are very odd,
Yeah,
But you can also see, because he's making these hesitations and he's turning away from the camera every so often, so we can maybe detect from that his cognitive load is visible in these hesitations. But again, we could be reading too much into that.
Fair enough. But I would imagine, maybe this is a bit scary to reveal, my thinking. If I were in his shoes, my statement might be along the lines of, I was outside brushing the dog and I just saw them walk past and they went down there towards the library. And that would be the sum total of it. Because he's now told them that he's had a conversation.
But this is
because he wants to be important.
Because he wants to insert himself.
And then,
we don't know whether it's ego or not. I mean, it might be that he is genuinely trying to control the narrative.
Oh, well, fair. Okay. But is controlling the narrative not ego as well?
Not always.
No, okay, fine. But he's now given more reason to talk to him about it as a result of this. Which is silly. If you're trying to get away with something, it's a bit silly.
Well, it is. It's very odd. And I mean, there's no signs of any acute stress here, which is very odd to me. Very odd to me.
Yeah, because if 2 kids from your little town went missing, you would be going, oh, it's just so awful. Like, your empathy would be so heightened. And
it
you
would.
Yeah, he's a weirdo. As we know.
The search, involving hundreds of volunteers, continued well into the next day and lasted 13. Several witnesses came forward, including Huntley. He claimed he'd seen the girls shortly before their disappearance.
It doesn't help the fact that I was one of the last people to speak to them, if not the last person to speak to them. I keep reliving that conversation and thinking perhaps something different could have been said. Perhaps kept them here a little bit longer and maybe changed events.
You poor little hero.
To eliminate Huntley from their inquiries, the police searched his home and the school where he worked. They found nothing to link him to the girls.
So this narrative, I was one of the last person to speak to them, if not the last.
Yes.
This is a strategic reinforcement of his earlier conversation, suggesting it's a rehearsed narrative. It's narrative anchoring, right?
Right.
So we also see some feigned remorse, which appears very performative, because he's framing himself as a hypothetical saviour.
Right. Did you hear me say, poor little hero?
Right, exactly.
Right.
Perhaps I could have changed events,
I had the power.
Exactly, positioning himself as this tragic bystander, so to speak, rather than the potential perpetrator, So I suppose this kind of self-referential moral elevation is the only way I could describe it. It's fascinating, and actually, I think, quite common in offenders attempting to control public perception.
Yeah. I had a question about that language. I was one of the last, if not the last. Is that not in itself kind of... I know you're reading too much into it, Villas, is probably what I'm about to hear. But, and I'm being very literal, I think, but if not the last, well, you would know that whoever murdered them would be the last. So why... It seems like an odd thing to say...
You're reading way too much into it. Way too much into it.
I did feel like that was coming my way, and I definitely deserve it. Actually, I was going to say probably. I definitely deserve it. So that use of language there's no relevance on that at all.
No, this is a perception repositioning. Okay. So you have, for example, You'll notice that his speech here is much softer, much more introspective almost.
Yeah.
Like he's saying, I keep reliving that conversation. But the verbal content of what he's saying is actually very thin on the ground.
Right.
So the emotionally loaded tone that he's using has no detail in it.
Right.
Really. You know?
Right.
So this is impression management. This is what I teach politicians to do.
Paul, what are you doing? Yeah, going to get all that in the comments now. But yeah.
Right. So, you know, this is definitely rehearsed, and it is most certainly impression management and narrative control.
Do you think he's been watching back his previous interview going, oh no, I wasn't quite empathetic enough
I'd say
there.
so.
Yeah.
I'd say so. I'd say he's definitely the type
Studied
of person,
himself.
as most criminals are, who would insert themselves into a situation like this, would definitely rewatch themselves multiple times, because remember, it's giving them a couple of things. It's giving them this idea that they're important.
Yes.
And people like this will crave attention and importance. He's a caretaker or something, a janitor, right? So a very low authority job.
Mm-hmm.
In terms of absolutely no say, no authority, no importance in his mind, you know? So what this does is, because he's now the center of attention, remember, he's the last person who saw them, and he reinforced that, if not the last, which is a sense of importance, that, you know what, you have to keep interviewing me, you have to keep making me the center of attention, because I am important. And that's not unusual. So yes, I would imagine that he watched his interviews multiple times, probably saw things and went, I could maybe be a little bit more sad here, or I could be a little bit more this, that, and the other. There's nothing unusual like that.
So,
he's coaching himself, yeah.
So when he... I had such a question there about him watching things back. Oh, I've forgotten it. It's gone. So, don't know. Never mind.
Okay.
It might come back. It might not. Who knows?
On the 17th of August 2002, Huntley was taken into police custody. He was formally charged with the killing of both girls and sectioned under the Mental Health Act, pending a hearing to establish if he was fit for trial.
I mean, there's not an awful lot in that.
No.
It's just a clip of him walking. I'm assuming the reason that they put that particular clip in there is because he was smiling in it.
I've no idea, but yes, I imagine that would be.
And
fairly...
I don't mean our editor. I mean the news.
The news people, because he looks evil because he's smiling at the murder. He looks evil because
he's smiling at the murder, exactly.
Right, and that's what, like when people said to me about being excited about the murder instead of, no, I'm not excited about that. I'm excited about this thing instead. And it's so easy to control or influence how people think by just putting that one clip of him walking across. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's fascinating in itself, because that's almost propagandist sort of type stuff, isn't it? You're controlling.
Not almost.
Oh, it is?
It is.
Okay.
Yes,
See, this is the thing. I never know when to be bloody absolute and when I'm going to get told off for being absolute.
It's not almost propaganda. This is propaganda,
so that is press propaganda,
impression management from the media.
Because they want you to believe he's evil. Because they want a conviction.
Well,
they
want a conviction. They don't care either way. It's,
in this case, do you remember what happened after he was convicted?
I don't.
Do you want me to tell you now or later?
You can tell me later.
Okay.
I mean, telling me now, does it make any difference to my bias? Probably not.
No, it won't. It won't do, I don't think. It was only that I very clearly remember after the conviction, when he was convicted, the day afterwards, the papers were full of the fact that he had previous convictions they weren't allowed to report on because they were irrelevant to the case. And so UK law are really strict about what you bring in terms of previous criminal history.
I don't see anything wrong with that, Helen.
No, nor do I. I'm not criticising it. I'm saying these people knew about his history and how likely it was that he was actually guilty.
Right.
So they may have a little motive for painting a certain
Oh,
picture.
I get you, yes.
Right.
Yes, okay.
Right.
Okay. Well, that would make sense.
Follow the brain. It's like a yellow brick road. We get somewhere eventually. But yeah,
And yellow brick road.
Hey, it's going to the Emerald City, actually, and it's beautiful. No. So the point being, they had all this information, and that also might be really frustrating, mightn't it? If you're a journalist and you know this thing and people are going, I don't think he's gay. He was so sad outside his house and me. And they're going, we know what this guy gets up to. We know what character he is. And so they would have maybe a motive for making him look a certain way.
They would, but they shouldn't. Their job is to report on the news, not to have an opinion on it.
Oh, they're never keeping their opinions out, are they?
No, of course not, which is what makes somebody like me's life much easier. Because if they were just reporting on what they see in front of them rather than what they're fed or shown, then you wouldn't need impression management.
No. And it would be boring to watch, and nobody would watch the news.
Right.
Would they? So, yeah.
No.
Anyway.
Although I will say our news is a hell of a lot less sensational than the news in the States.
I mean...
That's just fairy tales.
The States, the things they get... Anyway, we could go on a massive soapbox rank. Let's save it for a live sometime.
Yes, okay.
Upsetting. To think that I might be the last family phones that these two girls had free to.
There's that reinforcement again.
Friendly face.
But now we're a friendly face.
I mean, it's getting more and more.
Right. We're not just the last person we've seen. We're the last friendly face they've seen.
Right.
So in fact, he's escalating his importance within the investigation.
Because
so we can see an
off,
escalation of his importance.
Right, because he started off going, I don't know them. Now he's a friendly face. That's quite a significant leap from I know nothing of them and they just happened to stop outside my house to ask about the teacher.
I had a conversation with them, you know?
Yeah.
So,
I know, I had that question that disappeared from my head. You were talking about him being a janitor or a caretaker at the school. And I was thinking about the fact that when I was at school, I don't know if this is a typical experience or not, but the caretaker had quite a lot of power where the children were concerned.
Huge amounts of power where the children were concerned.
Right. So he would have been a bit of a hero to them, potentially.
Well, not hero, but certainly an authority figure.
Right. Well, but he's not a teacher, so there's even a difference
It
in
depends.
that.
Some caretakers were absolute pricks.
Oh, because they had a tiny, tiny, tiny bit of authority and used every ounce of it.
Whereas some were almost like a surrogate father figure. Who would help you hide your cigarettes and stuff.
Oh, my God. All of that.
Or who would find your cigarettes and go...
just slip it back. Yeah.
Listen, you need to move them from there.
Yeah. It's
and
raining.
they're going to get damp anyway.
Yeah, it's raining out there. You want to be careful. That's so funny. Joint experience, different place and time. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But so that thing of he would have had that tiny bit of authority, which also he could have utilised to do what he did. So he would have
They wouldn't have been scared of him. Let's put it that way.
No.
There wouldn't have been fear around
And he
him.
was the partner of their teaching assistant. So
Right.
So there's an added layer even of trust as well. Oh, that's disgusting.
It's funny, isn't it? Because I never remember him being so young.
Really?
Yeah.
What do you imagine him as?
No, I mean, I suppose looking at it now, 25 years later almost,
Is it because we're so old now and he was...
Yes, I mean,
Yes!
he looks so young.
He looks so young. We're at the age,
Yeah.
though, where police officers and doctors all look to... I mean, I literally went to the doctor the other day and thought, are you a trainee? And then realised, no, I am an old lady now. And that is a thing. Yeah, he was 31. We would have been... Well, it was 2002. What would I have been? About 23?
20? Yeah,
23 or 4?
something. Yeah.
We were
Wow.
young uns.
We were younger than him, but I mean, looking back at him now, he looks so young,
know,
so baby-faced.
I mean, so baby-faced, to the point, like, at this point, we were like, did he really know what he was doing? Obviously, yes. But, like, and I can't age anybody anymore. Used to be able to do, like, between a 17 and an 18-year-old used to be able to go, why is the bouncer letting them in? She's so obviously 17 and not me. And then now I've got no... Have you? Are you able to do that?
I am.
Yeah, of course you...
But,
yeah.
but for different reasons.
Yes. No, fair. Okay. Silly
The
question.
jurors were told how one BBC interview had to be restarted as Carr was referring to the girls in the past tense.
So Soham was obviously still firmly in the 90s in 2002.
I mean, height of fashion. Look at the
Height of
wallpaper.
fashion.
Look at that. And the
Wallpaper, yeah.
That wallpaper was like...
And the painted
early
windowsill of the different colours.
Oh my God, the red windowsill?
Yeah.
Wow. That is a lot of colour.
Very lovely girls, but Holly was more of the... Sorry. Even worse. Thank God.
Okay, so here's the thing. I personally wouldn't read too much into the whole thing of was more.
Oh, really?
No. And the reason I wouldn't is because when we are talking about people, even though people put a huge amount of stead into this whole thing of, oh, she said past tense. That can be a linguistic tick. So, for example, if I said, oh yeah, Helen, she was fine. I suppose, she was more of a party girl.
Right.
Even though I'm talking in the past tense.
You're talking about me as a young person, though.
Right.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
So I get why people jumped on it. What I'm more interested in is her reaction to her using the past tense. That's very strange.
Right. Okay. Right.
So this whole the way she reacted to being told that she was using the past tense. So, and I think let me just go back and have a look at this for a second.
In the past tense.
Very pretty girls, very lovely girls, but Holly was more of the... Sorry. Even worse. Thank God.
Yeah, this is... I mean, there's almost panic in her demeanour there,
Mm-hmm.
So, kind of an odd way to look at it.
And then the ear tuck, the hair
This is
tuck.
where we say
No, that's
Nothing?
just a tick. That's
Like
just
a nervous thing.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's a baseline behaviour, because with hair like that, she would have been tucking it behind her ears with regularity.
Right.
So this picture is obviously the most famous picture. This is the one I remember.
Yeah.
You
This was taken just before they left. That's really sad.
set up our main presentation unit. This is where I did a lot of the live programs that day from the high street, a very noisy little high street here in the heart of Soham. This is where I interviewed Maxine Carr, right here on the pavement on the high street, in what turned out to be a rather revealing interview.
This is something I'll probably keep for the rest of my life, I think. It's what Holly gave me on the last day of term. She was very, very upset because I didn't get my job. And that's the kind of girl she was. She was
Hang on a minute.
Lovely. Really lovely.
Did you hear that contradiction?
Yeah.
What contradiction?
His thing at the beginning, his interview the first clip we watched, he talked about them coming to ask him for whether or not she got the job, and then being sad because she didn't, and then leaving. But she's saying there that at the end of term, which would have been before this, they knew that she didn't get the job and gave them her a card.
Mm. Yeah.
Just saying.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
they didn't get the story straight.
No, but I mean, fine. Well, I mean, I missed that. But what I'm more interested in is the fact that she had a sentimental object. Because people who are offenders tend to use sentimental objects as defense mechanisms.
Right.
And I don't mean defense mechanisms as in like, you know, I'm avoidant kind of defense mechanism. I mean a defense object that is my defense. So it's defending me, because what it does is it creates these kind of false bonds that justify
so I would never do anything to them because I've got this relationship with them.
Exactly.
Right. Okay.
And I suppose, her emphasis on them being very upset that because she didn't get the job reframes the moment kind of around herself rather than the girls, which would be incongruent with what I would be expecting, you know?
Right, because
there's sentimentality there that shouldn't be there. So it's a social credibility maneuver, you know?
Interesting.
In a very short, self-centered narrative. I mean, this is only a few seconds long, but I mean, she's also trying, you know, she's describing this object as meaningful to her, but I suppose, is it really representative of the child's personality? I guess, maybe, but I mean...
Is it though?
Right? I mean...
Well,
I suppose...
You and I talked about this before,
but the
where
thing is,
people give you things and you...
Right, Helen, but...
No,
why is it important to her now? They don't know that the children are dead.
Right. And
so
why am I keeping it for the rest of my life?
The rest of my life. Why does it have this sentimental attachment? You know?
It doesn't...
So it's that I would be more focused on than her saying, you know, they knew. Because that doesn't make sense. And yet, yes, it's revealing, but not for the reason he thinks.
No, because it's not the past tense. It's the
the future,
bonding, and it's the
exactly.
I already know that they're dead, so this has suddenly got all this importance.
So this has suddenly got this huge amount of sentimental importance,
whereas
because she can never write me another note.
And also look at her also doing the same as he did in terms of talking to the press. It would never occur to me to go out to the press and go, I've got a card, they gave me a card, before, or even after, actually, but certainly not before.
It would never occur to me to talk to the press at all, because, I mean, I know what they are.
I wouldn't either. Not in this situation. Well,
no, in any situation.
It just is...
Unless I 100% control the narrative and the editing process.
Right. Or unless I've got you in my ear telling me what to say.
That too.
I'm not allowed
like
to
that
speak.
YouTube channel where the guy is behind the scenes. Have you seen it?
Yeah, or in Chicago when Richard Gere's doing, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. No. You know which bit I mean, don't you?
I know exactly what you mean, yeah.
That bit, amazing.
That somebody did that at a Christmas party once for me.
Oh my God.
They wore a mask of me and they did that thing from Chicago.
My God, that's amazing.
And they had a mask of me as him, and they sang that song at a Christmas
That is
party.
brilliant. That is brilliant. That's so funny. That makes me Renee's Elwood.
In other news, a recording has been released by the Sun newspaper of the child killer Ian Huntley apologising for the murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman. Gargi Patel has this report.
The brutal murders of Holly Wells and Jessica Chapman still cause shock 15 years on. Now reports in the Sun newspaper claim recordings from prison reveal their killer Ian Huntley talking about the crimes and his remorse.
I am so terribly, terribly sorry for what I have done. The people of Soham took me into their community. They trusted me. They gave me a job and a home. And I betrayed that trust in the worst possible way.
For 2 weeks that August, the town of Soham was the centre of a massive search when the 10-year-old friends went missing. Huntley had even joined the search and given TV interviews.
I'm sorry for the pain that I've caused to the families and friends of Holly and Jessica, for the pain that I've caused my family and friends.
He has a message for his former girlfriend, Maxine Carr, who was jailed for giving him a false alibi.
I wish her all the very best. I hope she's happy in what she's doing. I just hope she's found happiness, basically.
No, you don't. I don't believe a word of that.
No, I mean, that apology is very generic, and it's very global. It lacks any sort of detail, which is very typical of a post-conviction impression management.
Trying to make everyone
apology.
feel like,
Yeah. So, but he's also harming, he's framing the harming that he's done. To, you know, but he's framing it abstractly in terms of the community and trust but he's avoiding any concrete references to the girls themselves. He doesn't mention the girls by name, you know.
Doesn't he? Oh
so,
my god, yeah.
So
okay.
At least I don't think so. We need to watch it.
No, we're going to sit back and just make sure.
Huntley had even joined the search and given TV interviews.
No, he does.
Oh, no, he does. Yeah, I thought he did. I thought at the beginning. But he very quickly skips over them. And then
he does very quickly skip over them, you know.
And it's bringing in his family and friends as well to the apology. Like, I mean,
well,
yeah, awful.
He's not
but also...
he's not apologizing for what he did.
No.
So basically, he's not saying, "I'm so sorry I murdered Holly and Jessica." What he's saying is, "I'm so sorry I destroyed the distress I called to the family and friends of Holly and Jessica." So I mean, the thing is, these kind of people, these kind of offenders, they often apologize to regain status or to appear rehabilitated so that maybe they can get parole or whatever the case.
Yeah,
it's not to express guilt, you know. And his message to her is bizarre. It's broad, you know. He's avoiding any sort of acknowledgement of her role in providing a false alibi.
Right. And the way he said, "I hope she's happy," I know my bias, but it did not sound like a meant. It sounded like a dog whistle, what we would call dog whistling. You know, that kind of.
No, you're reading way too much into it.
Maybe not. Fine. All right.
And the reason you're reading way too much into it because this is a rehearsed contrition. This is not from the heart.
Okay,
so there's the pace is too steady, even to have that.
To have the dog whistle.
To have the dog whistle, exactly. You know, it's a rehearsed confession, or a rehearsed contrition, rather. It's not. You know, there's no spontaneous stress markers in any of the delivery at all. It's too controlled. It's too controlled for authentic. What's the word I'm looking for?
Apology, acknowledgement, atonement, accountability.
Atonement, yeah.
Right.
It's too controlled for any sort of authentic atonement.
Yeah, because if you really mean it, you feel it as you're saying it. So your breath changes, the delivery, the pace, the tone,
the speed,
the time,
everything
all of
changes.
it.
Exactly.
And he's sort of ticking off a list, it sounds like. He's going to get some potatoes and some vegetables, and then I'm going to roast a chicken, and then I think I'm probably delivering it with more feeling than he is, right? You know, like...
But
He is up for parole in 2042, which is a long way away in many respects. But you thought that wasn't that long ago, right? So he's about halfway.
I'm not sitting in a tiny cell.
But my point being, he's still doing impression management. He's already laying the seeds for his parole
absolutely
hearing.
He is. Yes. Of course he is. Absolutely. You know, because obviously remorse is going to be one of the things that they look
for. And ownership.
But the thing with genuine remorse is that it typically involves, you know, emotional disorganization. So, and it also involves things like self-reproach, which we don't hear here.
Right.
And also very specific elements of the harm that they've done, and very specific, I suppose, recollection of the harm that is done. This is all so flat, you know.
Right.
In fact, if anything, there's definitely not emotional disorganization, and as you'd expect to hear in a real apology, but there's actually emotional detachment.
Totally.
And a very externalized focus. So there's,
I mean, yeah.
You know,
there's no real feeling or empathy or understanding or you know, reflection in terms of what he did. And as far as I know, he hasn't actually ever confessed what actually happened. I could be wrong.
Oh, really?
Well, he told the story that. Do you want me to tell you now, or the story he told us?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So he said that they came into the house and I think it was Holly got a nosebleed and they went into the bathroom and the bath was full from him washing his dog, and that she fell over and banged her head and fell into the bath and he froze, and then because he froze and panicked, she drowned. And then Jessica, I'm not sure which way round the story is, but Jessica, for all intents and purposes, started screaming, "Oh my God, you've killed her," and he accidentally suffocated her when covering her mouth to stop her screaming. And that is how they accidentally died in his house.
Stupid story.
I mean,
it's not even well thought out.
I mean, the bath, you've had weeks to figure this out, and you come up with that? The bath was full from washing my dog.
And why was the bath full from washing your dog? Nobody fills their baths to wash their dog. No, they don't, Helen. If you're filling the baths to wash your dog, it's not going to be full. It's going to be halfway, because dogs are and don't like the bath.
Well, so mine would go in the shower, full stop, because I could shut the door on her and let her shake and do all that stuff in there. The little one would go in the bath, but yes, would not be filled all the way to the top, for sure. You know, it would never be all the way to the top. It would certainly not be full. And
we're talking about a bath in a whatever,
like a little,
in a semi-detached house or whatever, you know, which is normally against the wall.
Right.
And what did she do? Fall over face
She
first?
fell over and banged her head and knocked herself out and drowned in the water.
What a ludicrous thing to say.
I mean, truly, because he froze. Even if you froze, and we've done... Haven't we didn't explain it, didn't we, on the trauma responses? Didn't we? Or have we not?
Not yet.
Oh, okay. Let's do one. But even if he froze, we did one on my newsletter for the Academy on fawn response and how it's a sort
we did,
yes.
Yes.
But in
we'll
that
do one for the channel.
Okay.
Well.
We talked about the fact that freeze response, it's like it would be and then you would go into action. In that situation, he would have frozen for a second and then gone and got her out, and she wouldn't have even had a chance to breathe under the water.
Right.
Like, because her brain would have stopped her breathing under the water. So it is the biggest pile of horse shit that he could have possibly come up with. Like, it's so ludicrous.
I mean, it's actually insulting how bad it is.
It's really embarrassingly, yeah. Like, do you actually think the rest of us is as thick as you are? Because that is unbelievable. And I do know that sometimes, you know, fact is stranger than fiction and all that jazz. Not in that situation, no.
No.
And the idea that you suffocated the other one by accident because we wanted to stop her screaming. Come on.
Do you know how long it takes and how much strength you need to suffocate someone?
7 minutes. And a lot of strength.
A lot of strength.
A lot
because
of
when the
strength.
body is fighting for survival, adrenaline is coursing through your vein, which increases your strength.
And even children become the Hulk when in that situation.
Yes, they do.
And
which is why you hear stories of women lifting cars.
yeah,
basically.
with babies, because their babies
Yeah.
trapped in it.
Yeah.
When the bodies were found, they were so sadly so decomposed that there was no cause of death. And
we
they were
don't know why he
We
did
don't know. No, we don't. Well, he has previous form, shall we say?
And we still don't know why he did it.
No, we don't know why he did it.
They're all assumptions.
It's all opportunity. It was all opportunistic, first of all. So it wasn't planned. But he had a history of kind of sexual relationships with teenage girls. There was lots of accusations of rape and even an accusation of sexually assaulting an 11-year-old. So he's got a history of being very, very, I don't even know what the word is to describe it, but gross is one.
Do we know why she gave him an alibi?
Because she was in love with him. I imagine she was very, very controlled without realising.
So.
But she also, there's some
How much time
tricky
did she
stuff.
get?
Oh, I forget. I can tell you, but she didn't get that long, and then she was released with a...
So she's out.
Oh, yeah, and she got... What was the thing? What's it called when you get your like witness protection or whatever? Like the
Anonymity
Venables.
clause.
Yeah. And yeah, I don't know where she is now, and I don't know what the deal is now, but
Well, if anonymity was put in on her release, then that's exactly what it sounds like. They change your whole identity.
Well, she has been doxed a few times, I believe.
Is she really?
I believe so. And I seem to remember occasionally it popping up. You have to remember, for those that were not alive in 2002, or even an adult in 2002, we had Friends Reunited then.
Yeah.
And that was it, right?
Yes.
We had email, obviously, but your
did have
social
email.
network really was your, like, there wasn't an expansion of your social
Did we
network.
have Facebook?
No, that was 2007.
Yeah.
So
we had MySpace.
No, we didn't. Not then. It didn't come in
we not
until
have MySpace?
Well, I think I was living in London. MySpace.
I do remember Friends Reunited.
Yeah, Friends Reunited. Which actually I think probably sparked MySpace and then Facebook. But
Maybe so.
And there was Hot or Not.
We had
Do you remember
Yahoo
Hot or
Chat
Not?
and AOL Chat.
Oh, AOL. Oh, and what was the other
Do
one?
I remember what?
Oh, what did I just say?
No,
Hot or Not. Hot or Not. Did you remember that? Did you do that one? Yeah. You uploaded your photo and people could rate you out of 10 anonymously.
No.
It was brutal. Brutal.
No,
So you
I
deliberately
didn't
go
do
and
that.
find hot people and give them a 0. Just to bring them down a few pegs. Yeah. There was a documentary or like a biopic that was made about her and that time that she was out, I think she was in Grimsby or somewhere on a night out and supposedly sleeping with other men and stuff. And he was apparently physically abusive, but this is all speculation and I don't know what we actually know and what's conjecture. So we have to be careful. But we do know that he has a history of domestic abuse, of violence and sexual assault against young girls and also minors. So he is a horrible human being. And yeah.
That's quite fascinating.
It's an interesting thing, isn't it? Particularly, she got so much, almost more vilification than he did, because she protected him. And I wonder how much of that is because she's a woman. We expect women to be nurturing and to protect children, and
all of it is that. All of it is that.
Okay.
Because, you know, there is the idea that she protected him and she shouldn't have, because her nurturing maternal instinct should have kicked in and
Right.
she should have saved them. Now, if it was a man protecting a woman in the same situation...
Oh, don't.
He would
I
be
know
seen
exactly.
as
Oh, off.
standing by her, protecting her. Yeah. Exactly.
Just because he's got a penis. Like, Jesus.
It's social conditioning. Anyway.
Penise. These ruin everything. Anyway, on that note, there we are. So,
All right.
that
Good.
is Ian Huntley. Thank you very much.
Okay.
And
See you
we'll
later.
see you soon. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.
On the next episode.
Aaron, I'm Dr. Phil. How are you? Why are you here?
For the murders of my mother and 2 brothers.
You pled guilty because you are guilty, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
What did you do that made you part of this murder?
I knew about it and didn't say anything.
You had 2 little brothers in the house. What was going to happen with them?
I didn't really think about that too much.
Did you think they were going to be killed?
It crossed my mind, yes.
So you're sitting in the car and this guy says, we're going to go up there and massacre your family.
What people found extraordinary, amid many extraordinary things, is that you went back and eventually end up with your boyfriend and you have sex together after this has happened, after you know this guy has killed your family.